Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Yelsa and today's video is another sketchbook tour. This is a sketchbook that you have definitely seen on my channel a lot if you've been following along in my watercolor journey. This is actually the third sketchbook that I worked on this channel. I keep doing that. Second or third one. The sketchbook is made of a tree branch slice. I believe it is by Sky Art on Etsy. I will link them down below. Now this is a very small size. In comparison to an A5 sketchbook, this is about the comparison. So it's right in the middle. It's like half the size, a little less than that. So it's a very small size, and because of that, there wasn't much that I could fit in these pages, so I really dedicated each page to basically one flower bloom or whatever I ended up painting. So it was just like one giant flower. Because one of the things that I was trying to do to help me learn my watercolors was dedicating my time to one specific subject, which was flowers in this case. So the theme of this sketchbook is rainbow florals. This sketchbook has 40 pages, front and back, and as a result of that, I decided to split it up in batches of 8, so I would have 5 total batches. So Roy G. Biv, 7 colors of the rainbow, plus a rainbow flower to start us off. And the rainbow flower could either be a actual flower, as many colors as I possibly wanted in the flower, or like a black flower, because black is all the colors absorbed. So that was my motivation for this. It was also to push me to try using more colors than what I'm usually comfortable with, because I tend to stick in my comfort zone. If you have watched my videos a few times, you know that I tend to gravitate towards blues and purples. I have had this sketchbook for about a year. I actually finished this about a month before this video goes up, and I'll have the exact date in the cover. I had set a goal for myself to finish the sketchbook within a year because I really fell off doing these paintings once I started dedicating myself to doing other watercolors and other art that I had to do. I really fell off doing these flower watercolor videos, and if you remember from the very beginning, I had originally planned on doing like set number of paintings in this sketchbook and my other sketchbook that I was doing simultaneously, and doing one big painting at the end in my Arches Cold Press watercolor pad. I did not do that after the first time. So that's on me. But the motivation was there. But once I started falling off doing this, it really took me forever to kind of get back into the habit and the mindset of painting flowers, especially because I was trying to paint flowers with different types of watercolors, handmade watercolors, general watercolors, what have you. So you're going to see that kind of journey, the highs and lows in this sketchbook. So why don't we get started? So I started this sketchbook July 15th, 2025, and I finished it June 7th, 2026. And these are all watercolors. There's no other medium in here besides ink pens and gel pens, stuff like that. But it's all watercolor, and probably not going to get too much in depth with the different flowers that I paint in here. I have usually a meaning in the description of each flower that I painted here, and you can look in the florals, watercolor florals playlist that I have on my channel if you want to read some of those. But yeah, anyway, this first painting that I did, this is the rainbow flower. It's not really any flower in particular. It was really just a flower that I decided to smack dab a bunch of colors in, and I thought it looked pretty nice. I can't really complain too much about this. This first batch of watercolor flowers, I really was focusing on this glazing technique that is basically you layering on watercolors, starting out from really light washes to building up more color over time. I had a lot of patience for that at the beginning because I was really interested in learning the best watercolor techniques. I fell off of that after batch 1. So you will see that. But this one is just some random flower that I decided to do my rainbows in. We move on to the red anemone. Now, a lot of people usually confuse this with poppies, but the dark center is what distinguishes them. They're also sometimes the first flowers that appear in the new year, and they're also known as windflower. Originally, my first batch decided to do a kind of celestial body and flower theme. I at the beginning was kind of trying to associate the flowers with a specific theme as well, to kind of give the background a little bit more of a pop, because the white watercolors really is brought together when you, and all art will do this as well, but watercolors in particular will really look bad until you add in a background to really bring out the subject. And that happens a lot of times for a lot of different art compositions too, but I see that the most when I'm doing watercolors. So this one is a red anemone. I actually like my first batch pretty well. I like this one. This next one is the orange cosmos, and cosmoses are one of the October birth flowers, I believe, and they also derive their meaning from the Greek word, which means order, world, and harmonious arrangements. And this flower is well known for its unique petal arrangement as well. And I really like this one as well. I think this is probably, at the end of the sketchbook, choose my favorite flowers of each color. I think this is my favorite orange flower. I really struggled with orange in this sketchbook. You will see that. I struggled keeping it looking orange and not too yellow or not too red because of the way I was trying to shade these. So you'll see that struggle quite a bit. Orange, I think, was probably my weakest set of flowers when it came to painting them. Also decided to do a solar eclipse for this one. I don't think I talked too much about this, but you know, the sun means passion and all that stuff, so I really wanted to stick with that for the anemone. And the solar eclipse is also a kind of more on an energy aspect. It's when different energies converges and a different sort of balance can be found, change, self-reflection, that kind of stuff. And also manifestation can also be at its peak. I thought that felt like a good pairing when it came to a flower that has meanings and success and excitement. Next, we move on to the yellow azalea. Now, the yellow azalea is so nice. I really love this flower. I really love how it came out in the sketchbook. Obviously, it has the star as its background. I don't really have too many complaints about this one. I also kind of feel like this is my favorite yellow flower. Not sure if I put that in the back, but just looking at it right now, from what I remember, this is kind of my favorite. Then we have the clover. Now, obviously, if you couldn't tell, green would be a bit of a struggle when it comes to rainbow flowers. So that's where it kind of, the flower meaning kind of falls off, because there aren't a lot of green flowers, a lot of green plants, but not necessarily flowers. So I struggled a little bit. So I used that a little bit loosely when it came to green and just picked a plant that was green. Called it a day. But I like this. I had a lot of fun layering on the greens. And this one, green, when it came to the glazing technique, was probably my favorite color to do. So yeah, had a lot of fun with this one. I remember enjoying this process and being quite impressed with it when it came out. Next we have the blue poppy, and we have the Rocky Mountain columbine. I can say that these two are probably not my two strongest when it comes to my blue and indigo flowers. This is indigo. I can also say that I struggled a lot when it came to differentiating my flowers between blue and indigo, because I feel like when we look at the rainbow and when we look at colors in general, a lot of times I feel like indigo, violet, and blue are the three colors that I feel like are never consistent in what they are considered. Blue, indigo, and violet. Like, they are almost always the most inconsistent colors for what people call, this is blue, this is indigo, this is violet. So you're gonna see that level of fluctuation in here, and there are going to be certain flowers for the blue, indigo, violet range, where mostly blue and indigo, where a flower may not necessarily come in that color, but I painted in that color just because I was having trouble finding it. And this is my violet flower. I really like this one. This is a Chinese bellflower. I remember having a lot of fun with the glazing technique for this one. I struggle a lot with adding depth and making it look like the flower is going inwards instead of just being flat. So that was something that I struggled a lot, especially right here. I see that. I never quite figured out how I wanted to do that. I think I got it pretty good on this side and a little bit on this side, but this one really kind of fell through. This first batch is not that bad for doing it for the first time because I hadn't really painted flowers before starting this sketchbook. I'm pretty happy with this one. Now we move to batch 2. Things are a little bit wonky in batch 2 because there is a 2-month gap between these two. And this is also, all of these first 8 flowers were using my Gen Crafts watercolors. This is when I started using my handmade watercolors. And handmade watercolors, depending on how they're made, are pretty opaque. So you really have to water them down to use them in the same way that more transparent watercolors work. And you see that struggle in this a bit because you can tell here that the watercolors are kind of slapped on top of each other. I found that I don't particularly enjoy doing flowers with my handmade watercolors. So this is a rainbow dahlia. I don't know if I said that at the beginning, but this is a rainbow dahlia. I just chose a dahlia and decided to try to paint it in rainbow colors. Success? Not really. It was okay. Like I said, the layering in the watercolors being handmade kind of messed up this, and also the 2-week break did not help. Not 2 week, the 2-month break. Oh my god. And we move on to where things really start falling apart. Remember how I said the background is so important? These two are the example of that. So this is a red zinnia. I hate this one. This is my least favorite of the red flowers. I hate this one. Why? So the flower is drawn messily. It is a very bad sketch of a red zinnia. 2, I obviously was using my handmade watercolors. I did not make these handmade watercolors. I should clarify that. I did not make them. I bought them off Etsy. The handmade watercolors themselves are lovely. I love using them for every other thing but these. The flower was not drawn very well. I was having trouble with my glazing technique. I obviously just decided to go in with a gold pen. It kind of looks still pretty messy. Should have just gone in with the white pen, but you can tell I was going in with the white pen, and the white pen was not working very well because companies have not figured out how to do white gel pens well. So you just have to use paint pens. I didn't have paint pens at the time. And then the background, awful. 0 out of 10. The colors are too light. It does not bring out the flower very well. I decided to try to make it look like I was having green leaves on the side with my gold pen doing the highlight. 0 out of 10. Not a good one. Not good. Okay, moving on. Orange cactus flower. Kind of a similar scenario. Now, this still looks pretty orange. Yeah, still looks orange. This is an orange flower. I'll take it. It does lean a little bit more towards the red side because of the way I shaded it, but it's still mostly orange. Background, not great. I was trying to give the semblance of the cactus under this cactus flower. Did not work very well, not executed very well at all. The background's too light, it does not bring out these colors, and you can tell that I went in with the black pen to try to give it some more depth, to make it stand out on its own, to kind of make it pop. 0 out of 10. Also, you could not tell, I started this one in September. I came back to these November. Not good, not good, not good, folks. Okay, we continue forward. This is a yellow jessamine, and this is the philodendron pink princess. I actually don't mind these two too much in this batch. They aren't awful. I really like this one. This one's okay. Once again, using my handmade watercolors. And this one, honestly, I'm not sure. I don't actually remember if I stopped using my handmade watercolors after these failures or what. I think I actually stopped using them after this one. I think the reason there's such a big break is because this one looks so wonky and I realized, oh, I can't do it like that. So I went to, and I think I went back to the Gen Crafts, but I was just out of practice. I had been using my handmade for other stuff. So I didn't have the technique anymore. This one is not so bad. Once again, the background kind of brings the yellow out a lot better. But the problem is that the flower itself does not have well-defined edges, I don't particularly think. So I think the flower itself looks fine. I think I could have just done more to kind of bring out the edges of the flower so it doesn't look kind of like a blob too much. The colors are a little bit muddy. It was the way I was trying to shade it. I was trying to use more of the browns than the oranges and reds, and I think they kind of muddy together to look just kind of messy. But I don't hate this one. This one I like a lot. This one came together a lot more after I used the pen to kind of really bring out the edges of it, especially because the background is a little bit of a light color, so it doesn't bring it out too much. But I do really like how this one came out. I love the pink. But yeah, not bad. We run into the problem yet again for this blue delphinium and our blue-eyed grass of the edges not being well defined and the background not being good. So this one is not that bad, I will say. The only thing that's defining it right now is the fact that I did not go back in to kind of get the edges with the watercolor. Probably because I probably did not wait for this to dry long enough before I decided to put it in the background. So I was trying not to get too close so it didn't mess up the actual flower. I don't hate it. I don't love it. This one, it's not bad. It's just not good. This one, I should have just made the whole background just this darker green. I think that would have looked a lot better than this light green. And also going back and defining these edges better because they're really messy. It looks sloppy. It's tacky. Not impressed with this one. It's not the worst. It's just not great. And last but certainly not least is this wisteria flower. Now I think this actually came out not too bad. Is it the best? No, but it's not too bad. I don't mind it at all. The effect of there being like wisterias in the background that are just kind of faded. Now we go to this flower, which I don't think I chose a specific flower for it, but this was done March 29th, 2026. This was done November 17th, 2025. So there is a huge gap between this one and this one. It shows. I don't mind this one. This is not as rainbow as I would like it to be. This one kind of leans too much on the red side. So not a huge fan of it. So not great. You're gonna see my least favorite batch. So now we have red calla lilies and our Forever Susan. Forever Asiatic Susan, I believe it is. Oof. I don't like either of these. I believe this was when I was first using my Kudetake bonsai paints for these, and let me tell you, they are not good. I think they look a lot better on camera than they do in person. I think if you saw them in person, you would agree with me. They don't look so hot. This one I was really happy with while I was working on it. By the end of it, I feel like I lost the plot. I feel like I overworked these flowers too much. This one, my least favorite orange flower. Oh my goodness, it looks more like it's on the brown side. I hate this one. Hate this one. Not great. Not a great orange flower. Also, the background, not too good either. Now we move on to the tulips. Honestly, the tulips are not that bad. I liked it at the beginning. I feel like, once again, it suffered from the overworking, trying to bring out shadows, and just not doing it properly. This one is a Stephania erecta, I believe. This one is not so bad. I don't mind this one too much. Honestly, it's probably because it's so simple, and most of it is just me putting some greens down and then white on top of it. Honestly, in terms of my watercolor practice, this is bad. In terms of the final product, I don't mind it too much. So yeah, not great, not bad. Not a good batch of flowers. So we have my harvest bells for the blue and the blue flax for the indigo. Not great. There's a bit of a gap between these again. So I did all of these other ones March 29th, and I began closing out this batch April 9th. Not a huge fan of these. Overworked, kind of messy, not well-defined flower buds. And this one is just kind of dull, lifeless. The background is basically the same color as the base flower, so there's not a lot happening, not a lot popping out. Didn't do much to bring out the flower and make it look nice. Not a great set. Then we have our bittersweet nightshades. Now, these are not too bad. Like I said, for some reason my purples tended to come out pretty well. I like this one. It's still like the purple is kind of lifeless. It's kind of flat, kind of dull. I think I was really just trying to get through this batch because this third batch was painful. It was not great. I was disappointed with every single flower that came out of it. Not a fan of this one. Not a fan of this one. So that's it for batch 3. We move on to batch 4. And batch 4 and batch 5 are two of my favorite batches, I think. So this is a rainbow camellia flower. So the base flower is a camellia. I just added some flower petals that were of the rainbow. These flowers for batch 4 are based on the flowers I have associated with characters or were picked to be associated with characters from my D&D campaign, Blood and Blooms. So camellias are associated with Akash. The player, Strawberry Witch, picked camellias as Akash's flower, and Blood and Blooms, Ballad of Blood and Blooms, is not very heavy on the flower symbolism, but I like to associate flowers with characters, so I asked them for their flower because their portraits that I draw for them digitally have flowers in them, so decided that this 4th batch would be based on those flowers. It made it easier for me when it came to trying to figure out what flowers I wanted to draw or paint, so yeah. This one is the camellia. Base flower is a pink camellia with some rainbow, and I added some silver highlighting in this as an accent color, and silver is one of Akash's favorite colors, so I thought it was fitting. Next we have the red rose for red, and these were only done a month apart, so good on me for not waiting 3 months. That probably helped in finishing this and not losing quality. The red rose honestly is not that great, but it's not bad either. I used a lot of my shimmer paints, my shimmer watercolor paints, to kind of bring out this flower, this rose, mostly because he is part of a group called the Golden Serpent, and so this golden serpent around the rose is also the stem of the rose, and it's not bad. This flower is associated with my character Darius. He loves roses. It's one of his main flowers. And he also likes snakes. So now we have the orange amaryllis. So the orange amaryllis is associated with my character Nirai. They were one of the first blood hunters that Akash met. Akash met Darius and Nirai on his first mission. So they are kind of the first two that he ever associated with. And I don't think he particularly liked either one of them, which is very funny. I don't think he minded Nirai too much. I think Nirai disliked him more than he disliked Nirai. He does not like Darius in Blood and Blooms. They're actually really good friends in the present day. Blood and Blooms is set prior to the main campaign. So this is an orange amaryllis. It's not that bad. It is orange. It is distinctively orange. Only problem is that it's not well defined. I feel like it's kind of blends together and all that stuff, so could do for some more deeper shadows to kind of bring out this flower. Next we have 2 flowers. We have the tansy and the mullein. I decided I wanted to combine both of them because the tansy is associated with my character Kaido, and the mullein is associated with my character Ketsia. They are both kind of tied together. Ketsia is kind of close to his older brother. Not particularly Kaido, but she's there as kind of like the mediator between the two of them. And I wanted to include both of them because they're both pretty small flowers, so I didn't really want to just do a bunch of these kind of tansies, which are kind of more dot flowers. And these mulleins, I just wanted to do them briefly. It's a bit of a messy composition, not a huge fan of it, but it's not too bad. Now we have the green hellebore. This is Ozon's flower. It is technically a different color, not his main color, but it is his flower. Then we have the speedwell. The speedwell is associated with my character Erix. He is a cleric and an elf, and this flower is kind of like falling apart or covered with blood, mostly because he, in the future, present day, ends up dying. And a lot of people end up mourning him, but He comes back. It's okay. Through interesting circumstances, but it's okay. But I don't mind this flower. It's kind of empty. I feel like the page is kind of empty. The flowers are small. I could have painted them bigger, but I didn't, and it kind of suffers in composition for that, but it's not awful. Then we have the blue iris, which is associated with my character Lola. She is an artificer, and this one is not too bad. It's not the best, could be better. I really struggle with these indigo and blue flowers. I don't know what it is. For me, being really good with painting blues and purples and every other context, when it comes to flowers, I suck at it. And then we have our purple hyssop flowers. These flowers are associated with two newer characters, Telmot and Duman, and they have a lot of shimmery purples in them, and so that actually is one of the reasons why I like it. I also made the blood just have a hint of a shimmer in it, not too much, because the red shimmer that I have is not actually all that bright, so it's kind of hard to tell, but the purple, it really stands out. So I like this one. It's not, I don't really like it so much for the flowers so much as the composition, so there is that. Now we move on to batch 5. So this is the last batch, and this is the first time where I actually hold on to my end of the deal, where I say that I can do my rainbow flower as a black flower. So this is the black lotus. It's the black and gold lotus. The black and gold lotus is picked because the theme of this final batch is actually based on Shattered Memories, which is the main campaign that I'm a player in, DM'd by Strawberry Witch. And so the Black Lotus has a couple of associations. One, it is Darius's favorite flower, as I mentioned before. 2, it is also a very important flower to one of the cities that is related to some old character backstories. And so I decided to just use that as this, and I think it came out pretty nice. Now we move on to the red begonias. I really like this one. I think this one, I really figured out how to shade with reds, because obviously you can tell the reds are there, but I also use blue as a shadow, and I feel like that really makes them pop. And then the blue and purple background with the gold star and the gold kind of cloud drawings, I think really makes this composition look really good, and the flowers actually stand on their own. This red begonia is based on early campaign. Sylvia received a red begonia from her current partner Kaze at a very tumultuous time, very early on. It's like the first arc of the campaign, and yeah, there's a whole story about that, but that is the reason this one was picked. And the cloud symbolism with these was because of Kaze. His name is Wind, but he has a cloud pattern on his main yukata, and Sylvia is associated with stars. So then we have the orange tiger lily, also star in the background and a purple background as well, really bringing out the orange. And for once, I feel like I actually was able to also shade oranges again. And this one is associated with Summer Sylvia. Sylvia is half Eldrin, so she has her different seasonal forms, and this is the flower that she is associated with for her summer form. We have the sunflower. I made the sunflower very simple, but for some reason I really like this one. It's not my favorite yellow flower, but I really like this one. Something about it just being on a deep vermilion orange background and just having the flower stand on its own. This is a sunflower. This is a flower that I associate, and Sylvia, my character, associates with a character Flask, and she gave him a sunflower flask at the very beginning of the campaign. These are skeleton flowers. There are a couple characters that have skeleton flowers in their association. None of them are mine. But this is in place of the green. Now, the green is mostly in the stem here, and there's a little bit of green in the actual petals. Skeleton flowers look like this when they get wet, basically. And so that is why I decided to do that. And then for blue, we have Forget-Me-Nots. You're gonna see stars yet again. So the Forget-Me-Nots are one kind of like the flower of the campaign. The campaign is called Shattered Memories, and all the main player characters lost their memories at the beginning of the campaign. It's the whole plot. So Forget-Me-Nots are kind of the flower of the campaign, but also they are kind of Sylvia's flowers as well. She was the first to kind of associate Forget-Me-Nots with everything that was happening with them. She also gave Kaze a bracelet that had Forget-Me-Not flowers in them as like her first gift to him. And so yeah, that's why there are stars for Sylvia. And then we have yellow, which is Flask's color. We have black, which is Azazel's color. This light blue is Anastasia. And then this green is Killian, who was another player character. And then we move on to hydrangeas. Now, hydrangeas are not really associated with any sort of character in the campaign, none in specific. But I chose hydrangeas for indigo, which I think this is one of my favorite indigos. I don't know, something about it. Something about this last batch just really was nice. And hydrangeas are typically associated with apologies, regrets, and deep appreciation, specifically these indigo hydrangeas, or blue hydrangeas. And they also can appreciate or symbolize gratitude and understanding. And there's a lot of that going on in Shattered Memories, especially things that have resulted in regret or appreciation. And I think this honestly represents the group pretty well. The current dynamic. And last but not least is a Violet Morning Glory, which I think is honestly a pretty nice callback to my first full flower piece that I did at the beginning when I was supposed to be doing 8 flowers and then a full piece in my Arches block of watercolor paper. I had done Morning Glories as my first full piece, and I hated it. They did not look good at all. And once again, composition was not great, background was not great. If I have a picture, I'll put it up on the screen. But this one, I feel like it looks a lot better than the rest of all my other Morning Glories. I think I did a pretty good job with this one. Does it look great? No, because I still struggle with adding that depth to make it look like there's volume and not just flat, but I still like it. It's not bad. And this one also is not really specific to any character. It's associated with how quickly things can be lost, and that's kind of a nod to their memories and their old life being taken away in a blink of an eye, especially because these will bloom and die in a day. So that is the last batch of flowers. And a little summary. My favorite batch is batch 5, if you couldn't tell with the way I was gushing over them. My favorite batch is batch 5. My favorite flower of each color, the rainbow one is batch 4, the camellia flower that I did for the Blood and Blooms themed section. I like this one as my favorite rainbow flower. It was a hard choice between that one and the black lotus, I won't lie. My favorite red flower is the red begonia. You're gonna see a trend here. This one quite a bit. My favorite orange flower is the orange cosmos in batch 1. Yes. I did say that right. At the beginning, I was like, I'm pretty sure this is my favorite one. Yes, this is my favorite orange flower. And my favorite yellow flower is the yellow azalea in batch 1 as well. You can see that I did call them right at the beginning. I didn't think I did, but I did. My favorite green one is the philodendron pink princess in batch 2, which is shocking. But like I said, there weren't a lot of green ones that I really loved, so I like this one quite a bit. My favorite blue ones are the Forget-Me-Nots in batch 5. I really like these a lot. My favorite indigo ones are also batch 5s. These. Can you see a trend? And my favorite violet one is actually batch 1. So I really like them. And I clearly state here that batch 1 had flowers and celestial bodies as the theme. Batch 2 and 3 lacked any theme, and that may have resulted in the reason why the flowers are pretty lackluster. And then batch 4 and 5 were flowers associated with D&D. So yeah, that focus probably made a difference when it came to my favorites and how they ended up turning out. So yeah, I really am glad to be done with the sketchbook. I said I did not want to be working in this one sketchbook for over a year, so I'm really proud of myself for finishing it before a year passed. And I definitely learned a lot working in the sketchbook about glazing techniques, what worked, what didn't work, especially for me, what colors I really need to work more with, etc. And that'll probably result in me getting more sketchbooks that are very color specific so that I can practice with those colors. But please let me know what your favorite flowers were in the sketchbook, what your favorite batch was in the sketchbook. I would love to know. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all later. Bye.